Part 3. Technical Components and Forms. This section reviews the templates for the Annual Growth Plan and the Performance Plan. It includes recommended timelines, the responsibilities of both Appraiser and Appraisee, and answers to a number of frequently asked questions. This guide has been developed as a resource. Users should also refer to ministry-produced documents and locally developed practices, as well as the Education Act and related regulations for the details of the governing legislation. Developing a culture that supports and champions self-reflection and continuous growth and development of its leaders will be the ongoing challenge for the 21st century. Particularly important when viewed through the lens of our faith, the PPA must be viewed as an opportunity to strengthen a nurturing, respectful, and reciprocal relationship between appraiser and appraisee. An effective PPA process fosters continuous growth and development in both people engaged in the process, thereby building capacity in leaders and contributing to the overall board leadership development strategy. Indirectly, the principal performance appraisal will result in improved instruction and student achievement, supporting the development and well-being of our students into caring, competent, lifelong learners who are ready to contribute to their communities and the global environment. This graphic depicts the key components of the PPA process. The appraisal process is intended to support and promote professional growth and development. Each component should be linked to school improvement goals, board goals, and provincial priorities, and connected to one's ongoing professional learning and leadership development. The key components of the PPA include goals and priorities, the performance plan, performance results, and the summative report and rating. These components are informed by the Ontario Leadership Framework and the Annual Growth Plan. As part of the current legislation, principals and vice principals are required to participate in a performance appraisal once every 5 years. Principals and vice principals in their first year develop an annual growth plan and are evaluated in their second year. While the annual growth plan must be completed each year, the performance plan is also completed in the appraisal year. Both documents can be co-constructed and signed by both appraiser and appraisee. The process consists of a minimum of 3 meetings throughout the appraisal year, followed by a summative report that includes a performance rating of either satisfactory or unsatisfactory. In the event of an unsatisfactory rating, the process, as outlined, is repeated, including the 3 meetings, and additional steps are taken to support the principal or vice principal's improvement as outlined in the improvement plan. The mentoring relationship also provides support to the appraisee in his or her first 2 years in the role, and the template for the learning plan is set up to illustrate the relationship between the annual growth plan and the learning plan. Please note that it is highly recommended that the appraiser contact his or her immediate supervisor if an unsatisfactory rating of an appraisee is anticipated. This will ensure that both the appraisee and the appraiser are following the board's established procedures and that all parties are supported throughout the process. Here you see one way for scheduling appraisals. Appraisers have flexibility to establish appraisal schedules in a way that balances the total number of appraisals over the year. A differentiated calendar for the appraisal process is suggested for new and experienced school leaders. During the early stages of the PPA process, it is advisable for the appraiser and the appraisee to review together the expectations, requirements, and timelines of the appraisal process. Initial discussion might include collaboratively brainstorming potential goals for the PPA to ensure that they will meet the objectives of the PPA. Paying particular attention to how the last column in the PPA, the results column, will be completed will help ensure that the indicators will clearly allow for measurable results, qualitative and/or quantitative. The PPA process works best when there is a relationship of trust and professional collaboration built between the appraiser and the appraisee. It is important to continue to build this relationship throughout the appraisal process. For articles on building trust as an educator, you may wish to access both the Ministry of Education website as well as CPCO's Principal Connections, both of which can be found in the resource section below. Page 14 of the technical manual includes a useful suggested timeline for both new and experienced administrators. The summative report is found in Appendix A of that manual. The Annual Growth Plan provides a vehicle for the appraisee to identify strategies and actions for growth, based on the Ontario Leadership Framework, the 5 core leadership capacities, and the personal leadership resources. Your school board may have a template similar to this. It supports the performance plan in the appraisal year and is used to track professional growth in the non-appraisal years, such as the ALP for teachers. A first-year administrator begins developing the annual learning plan in the fall of year 1, benefiting by ongoing support from a mentor and feedback from a supervisor. Professional growth activities identified in the annual growth plan will assist the appraisee in developing these practices and competencies and will support the implementation of strategies and actions to achieve the goals identified in the performance plan. The performance plan is developed by appraisees in each appraisal year in order to demonstrate how they intend to achieve identified goals. When developing the goals, the appraisee considers ministry, board, school, and personal performance goals. The goals selected by the appraisee should align with school level, board, and ministry priorities. The plan includes strategies and actions, and leadership practices and competencies, as well as methods and indicators to measure attainment of the goals. The elements of the performance plan must be considered by the appraiser when conducting an appraisal of the appraisee's performance. The performance plan also includes a description of the results, which will help inform the performance rating. The elements of the performance plan should be reviewed at least twice during the appraisal year. In this way, the appraiser and the appraisee can take stock of the progress and do any tweaking that is required to support the achievement of the appraisee's goals. Samples of completed forms are available online. Please use the hyperlinks below this screen to view these samples. Let's consider some of the frequently asked questions asked by administrators about the principal performance appraisal process. In the words of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, learn the lesson that, if you are to do the work of a prophet, what you need is not a scepter, but a hoe.